And all kinds of things play into that. It's like how curved are the sidewalls, you know, how curved is the tread, and a lot of things like that. And then the second is the actual tread rubber compound itself. So a lot of times they'll use tires that have similar construction, but then very different tread compounds. And then some things are kind of strange, like you look at it and you say, wow, you know, I think they use the same tire at Pocono that they use at Bristol, which is, you know, you would think, how does that work?
Well, they're the engineers, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, it's like Goodyear, they do a bunch of testing and they figure out what works, what doesn't work. And if I get this all right, then we probably will be in the same situation. Like we find if we make the tires grippy enough, then we'll start to have problems with heat. You know, those are the kind of trade-offs that you see. So hopefully we'll do all the same things, and then we'll kind of be on the same path, you know, that the Goodyear engineers have to be on.
So we'll work up to potential with heat, where you overheat the tire, blowouts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Interestingly, I think that the amount of wear and heat buildup is going to be sort of much more non-linear. So if you start to slide the tires a lot, it's going to overheat rapidly, which is pretty much what happens with real tires. I mean, you know, when they take them and put them on tire test machines, if you get them up to high slip angles, the temperature just starts to skyrocket.
Trace out the tracks. So here's Dover, I'm flying around, and you'll start to see creep in here fence shadows. You might not have ever noticed it, that it was missing, but once you see it, it makes a huge difference. So we kind of waited on introducing fence shadows because shadows actually hugely affect performance, you might have noticed. And we wanted to do it in a way that was efficient, because these shadows at some tracks, high banking, low sun angle, can go all the way across the track. So it could really destroy your frame rate. So we developed a new method to do them. These are actually rendered, they're calculated based on the sun position. Then it looks at the texture and it kind of casts that shadow into another texture. And it lays that texture down on the track versus kind of doing it geometry to geometry.
Would it lay it on a car going by as well?
It will. So we learned in doing this for the fences that, you know, we can apply this in other areas. We can also apply this to objects. So we're creating a new set of shadow options where you can choose this to be your main shadow rendering technique instead of the old way. And essentially with this new technique, shadows are almost free. So before, a lot of people had to turn off shadows because the frame rate was so bad they couldn't race with it. Now you'll be able to turn them on and be able to race competitively. So I think it's going to make a big difference.
I think shadows, really they were one of the first things that, like when you do the auto config, that's one of the first things that would get knocked off, right?
Yeah.
If your machine didn't have the latest and greatest graphics cards. So some of you guys maybe never even saw the shadows before, because if you just went through auto config, they might not have ever been turned on.
So all of it's there. It's just that some of it doesn't draw because this is actually 300 million points in space. A point, I'll zoom way in so you can see what I mean. It's a new record for us. So what the thing does, the scanner, this is where it was set up. So it's on a tripod up in the air about 10 feet or so. Spins around in a circle. And as it's spinning, it's shooting out individual laser pulses that it sweeps up, up, up as it's going around. And the laser fires, it hits the ground, it bounces back, and it registers that point in a three-dimensional database.
You can't fly through your point cloud.
Let's do that.
Cool.
So this is another view. This is a 3D view. The top-down view is the one we use to actually construct. And this view we can kind of fly in and make sure everything's right. Now again, it's only loading what it thinks I need to see because there's just so many points. And let me show the world. So we've actually started to trace this track.
Wow.
See just how close the visual and what will be the physical are together.
What is the blue that's starting to show up on some of the tracks in the gravel?
That's
like the blue you're showing there.
That's the point cloud?
Yeah, this is the point cloud. So I have both the point cloud drawing and the textures drawing. So they're like right on top of each other, so you can kind of see it bleeding through. You won't see this in the actual wind screen. Okay. There we go. So this, as you can see, it's still very early in its development. It's kind of just a track floating in space. But we're going to start to drop in. Pete will show you in a moment. He's working on the terrain and the mountains surrounding it, the forests. We've got another team of guys working on the buildings that we drop in, which we also build the buildings from laser scan. So we cut them out, we import them into 3D Studio Max, which is kind of a common industry 3D tool, and then we build them in that.
But you also must take just thousands of photographs there. I mean,
yeah, at SPA we took over 4,000 photos. Our reference database is ridiculous. It takes, if you were to kind of download it, it would take days. So we have a lot of data.
On the other side, it's as strong next to them as it is directly behind him. And you can get almost about even with his door before you actually have to start hitting ambient airflow. So you've got a draft from 20 car lengths back up to next to him. So you've got a good long ways typically to catch up a ton of extra speed. And here is where you're finally going to start actually hitting actual wind speed. And hopefully you've got enough inertia to get past it. That's something we have problems with in the sim, and everybody complains about. Something we're trying to figure out. And that's part of the problem, is how does each car generate a draft program? This one, the car is right here. And this is ambient airflow. So directly behind it has a lot less airspeed. A long ways back has a little less airspeed. But notice there's almost nothing on the sides. It basically pokes a hole exactly the width of the car, and everything is tucks in right behind it. So there's no side draft at all in these things. So poking your nose out halfway, you're getting clean airflow. I mean, you can line up your nose with the left side tires 2 car lengths back, and you've got absolutely clean airflow to the left side of the car.
Weight center too.
Weight center?
Oh, no.
As far as graphics, oh no, I'm thinking this.
20 meters back.
Yeah, but even so, I know there's a warning.
There's going to be some limit to when that.
Yeah, I mean,
when it would stop in reality and when you actually.
They got to be thinner to
I
keep
mean,
it
it
fine.
tapers down to nothing. We can control.
No one finishes the first lap.